Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Age of Quarantine. My name is Chris Enriquez. I am your host. Thanks for spending your Tuesday evening with us. Hope you're all doing well out there. I wanted to give a quick shout out to my co-host, Caroline Arison. It was just her birthday. She is the social media manager at St. Vitus. She has some great new merchandise. Hey Allie, how you doing? Love the new record. That's Allie from Bootblacks. Yeah, I just wanted to give her a shout out. It was her birthday, and she created some new St. Vitus merchandise that is great for Halloween, and you guys should check it out. Head over to the St. Vitus Bar merch store and website, and you can check out the new merch. There's so much awesome shit. Hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, a lot of cool stuff. We all got to stay warm, right? So why not with some good St. Vitus shit? Yeah, anyway, I want to just let you guys know, today on Age of Quarantine, I have an amazing band from Brooklyn, post-punk band called Bootblacks. I've known some of its members for a bit, primarily Larry Gorman, their drummer, who was in Glassjaw and Orange 9mm and Beyond, and Head Automatica, a ton of bands that I've been around since the 90s, and he's just a great guy. And Allie Gorman, who's watching right now, hello, who is a fantastic person. They are in this band, and I saw them once, and I grew up on a lot of post-punk and 80s and new wave stuff, and I just love their sound. It's a really great sort of contemporary take on a lot of stuff that I grew up on. They're from here in Brooklyn, so it's cool that they're local. And they've got a bunch of cool records and videos out that you should check out if you haven't already. Their new album is out right now, and you guys can stream it. You can scream too if you want while you're listening to it. If you like it that much, you can scream it. But you could stream Thin Skies. Came out last Friday, and it's a great record. It's what I have playing in the background. This shit is getting me pumped right now. But we have Barrett on the show, and we also have, he plays guitar and synth, kind of trades off, and I have Panther, the vocalist, on the show, and we're going to kind of split up the half an hour with each of them. So yeah, I'm going to get them on the screen right now, and I really hope you guys enjoy learning about this band, and I can't urge you enough to check them out. They just did a live stream from the from their YouTube channel. It's a live show from the St. Vitus bar, which we've been doing some of those. So check it out if you miss live entertainment. You won't be disappointed. So I'm going to get him on the screen, and we're going to have a chat. So give us a second here while the internet kind of works its magic. So we got Panther joining us first, the vocalist.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh my God. So much. This isn't Barrett, but yeah.
No,
sorry.
I just corrected that. And what's up, Panther? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, no, we said I know Barrett and everybody. I think you and I met briefly once, but I know you're not Barrett. Don't worry. We just had a mix-up in the communication there. But thank you for joining us on a episode of Age of Quarantine. Really appreciate you making the time this evening.
I'm honored to be here, man.
Absolutely. And so for anybody that's following on your page that missed my intro, this is the Age of Quarantine web series. I'm your host, Chris Enriquez, and we're live on both of our channels, and this is awesome. We just like talking to our favorite artists and getting to know them, and talking about music and things we love during these weird times. I don't think I said weird enough, but
I'm glad you're doing it. These are great. This is a good workaround, and I don't know, lots of good interviews with lots of interesting people. So yeah.
Absolutely. I want to give a shout out to. Oh no, you got to give yourself credit. I want to give a shout out to your publicist, Kieran Reynolds, one of the best, and thank you to him for making this possible. How have you been managing to get through this? I don't need. I'm not going to call it the quarantine because people are going out now, but the pandemic. Managing to get through it.
I don't know, man. It's been weird. I feel weird talking about it all the time because I think it's just weird for everybody, right? So it's kind of hard to complain about this or that, but I guess just like everyone else, trying to figure out, I don't know what life looks like now. I don't know. And I mean, obviously we're talking about music tonight, so a lot of that's how to still do that, right? And I know that you brought up the St. Vitus, thing, and that was that was kind of an interesting workaround for us to try to still have a live show going. So personally, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then the schedule as a band, with a new record out, did you have shows or any touring planned that was affected by this?
Oh yeah. I mean, we were going to be on tour, I think, almost the whole on and off the whole year. Like, I think this is actually going to be the most extensive touring we were doing with the band. We were meant to be on tour with Modern English.
That's right. I'm sorry, I knew that. Jesus.
Yeah.
I remember congratulating Larry and Allie on that. Jesus.
Yeah, and that would have been, I mean, it would have been great for a lot of reasons, just being that obviously that's a band that we grew up with, which is a huge influence on our music, I think,
Dude.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then we had other stuff with actors, and we were toying around with a bunch of other dates, but obviously that's just not a thing anymore. So, here we all are together.
Is there any? I had a similar thing happen with this has happened to everybody. I remember it's so funny that I didn't think about bringing that up myself, but I remember hearing about the Modern English tour. I'm a huge fan. I mean, anyone, whether you're a child of the '80s or not, which I am, obviously they wrote some serious classics, and I thought that was such a big break for you guys. Something similar was supposed to go on tour with Korn with my band, and that is not happening at all. Did you guys find out if there was anything being rescheduled or?
No, not now. I mean, because I think no one knows when. I mean, it's like everybody's kind of gambling, I think, on when things are going to happen again. I mean, everybody kind of has their own idea about when live music or anything's back to normal. So, I mean, it seems like this year went so fast, 2021, like, right. People are moving them to summer, and then it skipped fall. So at this point, who even knows? So no.
Yeah. Some people haven't. I'm not surprised. I think the issue is that no one knows what it's going to look like, and no one knows what kind of money is going to exist to pay the artist. If anybody watching this, you guys should really, if you want to see live music again, I'm not going to lecture you on how to behave, but there's one thing you could do is look up Save Our Stages. There's different things you can do to contribute to making it possible for, in the very least, live streaming to become a thing, but hopefully we'll see some sort of live entertainment in the next year or so. It's
definitely something I've taken for granted for a long time, that now. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But I know that band Actors are good friends of yours, and the first time I actually heard of your band was when you had played a show together in Brooklyn, and the person I was dating at the time mentioned that you guys were trying to do a little hangout with anybody that's following you, which I thought was, I like that. People want to hang out. It's a nice unpretentious way to be like, hey, we're here. Let's hang out. We're going to be at a bar tonight. And I remember it was at the Anchored Inn.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. So Thin Skies came out last Friday. It's phenomenal. Was it hard to decide on whether you should release it or not? Or were you like, fuck it, we're not letting this stop us?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a conversation about it for the kind of aforementioned reasons, right? Because there was we were going to put out in spring, and then there was kind of some talk about that live music might come back by the summertime, or, I mean, that was kind of uncharted waters back then. So there was kind of a conversation about when it made sense to put it out, because the old model is always, of course, you put it out and then you tour. So yeah, there was a conversation about it, but I mean, I just thought, it seems like a good idea to put it out now as well, because I think that people are really supporting recorded music, or at least paying more attention to it than they did in the past. Because I think, again, the way we were living before, we were used to all this stuff. So it's kind of nice to put out some content right now when people, I think, want content, and that, if I don't want to sound like doing something good, but you know, it's sort of like, you know, let's put out a record. You know, maybe people need a record to listen to right now, and you know, people
Yeah.
are supporting artists and have the attention span for right now. So it did seem like a good idea. And like again, I didn't. Who knows what's going to happen? So I don't want to just sit on it for 2 years or whatever, and hopefully, you know, give something people listen to.
Well, yeah, and also I think that fans or people, just fans of music in general, um, they understand what's going on right now. If they like something, they're going to listen to it, and then if the band can't tour on it for a year, they know what's going on. You know what I mean? And we have the affirmation out there from at Sansanese TA. We do need the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonna ignore the trolls. I don't know why there's an angry person that doesn't like Saint Vitus, but I'm really started having a bad night, man. Thanks for joining us to let us know that.
The internet's not for everybody. It's okay.
At Sudi13, so happy for the record. Whatever y'all chose would have been the right choice. So it looks like you got some very supportive fans out there.
Yeah.
Now, are you talk about writing and recording it, because it sounds amazing, man. Like the layers of the electronic drums and the lush vocals and the soundscapes and everything and the guitars, like it's fucking on point, man. I'd love to know a little bit about not only writing and recording it, but if maybe you could talk about the creative process that goes into your music.
Well, sorry. It was it was kind of a weird album for us because we had, because of touring from the year before and also how quarantine worked out. So it was kind of created over a long span of time. But this record we did a little bit different from the other ones. We wanted to kind of come in with a really loose structure. So not a lot of sounds picked out, not a lot of things like that, just kind of the bare bone chord changes, things like that. And then to kind of flesh that out with Jason Corbett of Actors, who produced it. So I think in the past we had kind of tried to work the songs up to be recorded. So we kind of took like, you know, undercooked songs and kind of wanted to cook them up in the studio with him, because I really appreciated his production value and sort of his sensibilities. So we went and recorded them in Vancouver, and then they kind of got worked. Like we went there and then we went back, and it was kind of connected to our touring. So they were kind of slow cooked with Jason and a lot of back and forth ideas, and we did really give him the reins a lot on the production, so I have to give him a lot of credit for that, which he deserves. But I think the reason we wanted to work with him is because he really got what we wanted to do, you know. So
he knows the band so well from being friends, playing with you, touring together.
We had played so many shows together, and we had actually played some of this material on the road. So I think that gave him a really interesting insight, you know, into it, which I think was. I'm proud of the record, and I think it was a great experience working with him, and it was just an interesting, you know, kind of dynamic that way. So, yeah.
How did you start that relationship with Actors, by the way? Because you guys are all very close.
We just got booked with them a lot. So I would have to thank the bookers out there in the world that thought that we were aesthetically kindred spirits or whatever. I mean, I think with post-punk, I think with post-punk, you know, there's stuff that's more dour, some stuff that's more electronics, you know, stuff that's more, you know, the different genres. And I think like sometimes we kind of struggle to fit into a tight niche there, and I think Actors does too. So promoters apparently saw that and booked us together a lot, and a friendship developed, and then, you know, everything else from there.
Yeah, that's great that you guys just developed that camaraderie, you know, instead of you know, bands can be competitive sometimes. It sounds like you guys were like, oh man, we should be friends, and here you have this great working relationship with Jason producing the record,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So you were talking about the writing process a little bit. Would you say that it differs from song to song, or do you guys kind of have like a template that works for you when it comes to writing in general?
We don't have a template, and that's kind of we kind of I guess reject the concept of a template, just because I think I don't think this stands for every genre, but I think sometimes in our genre there's like, we're this band, and I just really don't think we're interested in that. And I'm interested in like I mean, we're not gonna take a total left turn, so there are some kind of sensibilities that we want to
Of
have,
course,
but
yeah.
right. But I think it's pretty broad. So I think the goal is always to just do whatever we think sounds cool. Like if it's something that we like, then we'll try for that, right? So we just kind of mess around until we find something that we think is cool, and it's just kind of that simple. So I think it leads to a more eclectic sound. I
Yeah,
hope it
yeah,
does.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because of the Ali and Barrett sort of like trading off a little bit on the synths, the
Yeah.
guitars, and the cool like pads that Larry has back there. You know.
Yeah, I kind of hope that it's the sum of its parts rather than a kind of preconceived, like we're gonna sound like X band and that's the wheelhouse that we want to stay in. Because the bands I admire from that time period, or frankly any other time period, are bands that just kind of did what they liked.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's
and you know,
it's
to varying
definitely
degrees of success. So,
no, and that's what I like about it. You guys definitely have a musical freedom that shines through when you listen, and also just a really good you know, aesthetic and how everything sort of works with each other. It's done really tastefully. And so let's talk about the how the band formed, because I know Larry will love it because I'm going to kiss his ass a little bit.
yeah.
I've known of Larry as a drummer since I was a kid, actually. Like before I was old enough to fucking like leave my house, I was listening to bands that Larry was in. I didn't
Yeah.
meet him until I was an adult. We should mention Larry was in bands like it couldn't be more different. He was in Glassjaw and Orange 9mm and Beyond and Head Automatica, and that's interesting. That's always interesting to me. I know he's a later addition to the band, but I just want to point that out. But how did the band
Yeah.
form?
Well, I've known Ali for God, I guess I mean, it's over a decade, so maybe even 15 years. We were in a band together in San Francisco where we both lived called the Holy Kiss. And so we had actually been playing music, I mean, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years even before this band was formed. So I've known her for a long time. So the inception of the band was Ali and I being in another band wanting to do this band, or what would become this band. So I don't know, musically the journey's been with her. So we've had different people in and out of the band, but really the core of the band was her and I's kind of idea about what we want to do in a band. Like we were talking about, like not really having rules, not being confined by aesthetics, or we'd been in other bands where it was like, okay, this is how we sound, and we didn't like that, and so here we are. But Ali is married to Larry, so um, he's an amazing drummer. He's an amazing musician. So, it's kind of, I made this joke before, but it's like if I was married to Eddie Van Halen, it's like kind of a no-brainer to get that person involved because, Larry is a very good drummer, but I mean, the secret of Larry is that he is also a good piano player, and he has, as far as I can tell, perfect pitch as well. So he's a very good musician. So it kind of seems silly not to. I mean, if you have some of that talented sitting right next to you, at what point in time do you just kind of take
Right.
advantage of that? You know what I mean? Like, hey, like you're really good at music, so of
Yeah,
course you want
he's
to talent.
unbelievable. I want to get him on the show actually, just to talk to him about his entire drumming career because it's so interesting. Before he came
It's
into
crazy.
the picture, were you and Ali playing as Bootblacks with just the two of you?
No, we've had a different cast of characters. I think Larry is the third drummer. We used to have a live bass player, and I don't know, that whole thing was part of, I guess, the genesis to where we're are now. And I don't want to discredit those people because that's just where we were at the time. So yeah, I'd say it's the core of the band's us because it was always our conception as a band, and we've had other people play in the band that were members, but they're not here with us. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like been our project.
I'm just gonna say something real quick. We're gonna ignore the comments tonight. I'm sorry that we have to do
Yeah.
that, but we're trying to have a conversation, and this is the last time I'm going to address that. But if you guys are commenting and if you want to share any cool stuff, that's great. But unfortunately, we have somebody ruining it for everybody. So I'm not even gonna look at them. We're just gonna ignore them because that's just
Yeah.
fucking rude and unfortunate. Thanks for putting up with this, Panther.
I,
But
I don't I don't I don't even read the comments anywhere. I'm bad at the internet, so I don't even mess around.
yeah, so better on us if we just ignore it and talk about more interesting things that we're here for. So we're talking about like the band members and how you guys met. So Larry is married to Allie. You came here with her from San Francisco. Where
Yeah.
does Barrett come into the picture?
I mean, Barrett's kind of another like situation with Larry, meaning he was a friend of ours and he's very talented and good at what he does. So, I mean, it's I think that some bands kind of have like maybe people conceive of bands as having like kind of an atmosphere of like these people are in and out of the band, but we've always been kind of fluid in the sense of that, we're always willing to invite people in to the band that are, serious about touring and being in a band, and they're also creative forces. And so, you know, again, it's like, someone who's good at their job and wants to be in a band, like why wouldn't you want to play music with them? So that's, I think, Barrett's story as well.
That's a great attitude to have. And, I really think that this is a band where everyone, like, I just watched the recent live stream. Well, I can't call it a live stream, but it was a song that you had filmed prior and posted from St. Vitus, and like watching the band live on camera close up, which I never really got to do at the one time that I saw you play live, like where you could really see what everyone's doing. It's amazing to see like each individual member really add something. I think some of the best bands are when you have irreplaceable members. You know what I mean? And you guys definitely have something special there, which is why I wanted to kind of like talk about how everyone ended up in the picture. Now, you guys came from San Francisco. Is that where you're originally from?
I'm not. I'm originally from LA. I grew up in Los Angeles. Allie is kind of like, I don't know, where she's from nowhere. She's I mean, like she's I don't know. It's a complicated resume of her living experience. So I think she was a kid. She lived in Chicago area, upstate New York. She's kind of from everywhere, but that's where she landed I think for college in her 20s. So we met there. So, but no, neither of us are natives.
Are you so LA, obviously, much like New York, has such a rich music history. Maybe let us know a little bit how LA shaped you as a songwriter and a vocalist. I'd love to hear about, maybe some of your favorite singers that inspired you too.
Yeah. Look, LA, like New York, has everybody has an opinion about it, strong opinions about it as a city. I do find myself fortunate to grow up there because, it was a place where a lot of things were happening. You had access to a lot of stuff, and music obviously being a huge part of that. So, yeah, I mean, I used to go to, when I was a teenager, I used to go to a place called the PCH Club in Long Beach.
Oh, I know that place. Yeah.
Yeah, it was and Coos Cafe in Orange County. Those were the sort of two places, and I used to go to. I mean, it was a different time then, I suppose, because you could go to a hardcore show and there would be what was called emo then, which I think is not represented by what that means to most people now, or just any sort of alternative music. So I saw some pretty great shows back then, I think, and it was funny because I was kind of fortunate because my parents were a bit of hipsters, so they had really qualified music tastes. So my rebellion was to like classic rock. And but then when I started going to places like the PCH Club and Coos, I made an analogous between those places and places like the Cavern Club or other places, and I felt like, wow, this is a place where young people are doing kind of new and important stuff. And I really do think like from California, labels like GSL and 31G and all that kind of like Gravity Records sound stuff was the kind of stuff that I was growing up on there. And I felt like it was new music and it was exciting. So I don't know if California, particularly as a location outside of those clubs, influenced me. Like, I don't know, I mean, beachy songs or Laurel Canyon vibes, but definitely the PCH Club and Coos Cafe. I saw some great shows there.
we were really showing our age because I've been to both those
Yes.
places, and
Yes.
everything you just said, I knew exactly what you were talking about. It's true.
Yeah.
I think that you know,
I'll give a shout out to Alec. He gave me my first show at the PCH Club. I don't know what that guy ever became of that guy, but our first show was with Blood Brothers and Combat Wounded Veterans. So I'll show my age there as well. So
that's a
16.
great show.
Yeah.
Great lineup right there, man. So you end up here in New York, and you know, talk about like the band kind of coming into its own sound. There's a blend of post-punk, some new wave, a lot of 80s influence, but there's a contemporary thing. Like, you know, I mentioned earlier, maybe we could get into some of your favorite vocalists. Like, maybe talk about how, you know, some of your influences and how Bootblacks kind of came to find its sound.
Well, I think the first thing was, I mean, I have to be fair, Allie and I were kind of playing in a birthday party style post-punk aesthetic for quite some time, and I think that was kind of still the inception of the band in that kind of wheelhouse of post-punk. But one of the biggest things that changed our sound was actually not having a bass player. So once the decision was to not have a bass player, having electronic bass and I think that really helped us change our sound a lot, because I mean, that's a big difference, and I think it put some sort of electronic edge on there, and we kind of, I don't know, if I were to describe the sound, it's kind of a hybrid between electronic and sort of guitar post-punk. But I mean, just part of that is time and life and shows and different members, you know, like obviously Barrett and obviously Larry, you know, working with different people. So, I mean, I have a hard time describing how someone gets their own sound. I guess you just play a lot of music.
No, it's fair enough, because it's almost just like your personalities all sort of blending together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I would say the lack of the bass player was the first kind of jump for us.
And then as far as like the New York scene, like coming into it from LA, you know, what are your sort of views on it in general? You know, in terms of like, you know, I find that like, so my bandmates in Spotlights moved here from San Diego because they felt that the scene there was kind of like, it was great, but there was nowhere to go at a certain point. And they found Brooklyn to be a very great place to grow the band. Did you find that to be a similar experience for you guys?
Yeah, I think, California has a kind of entrenched music culture. I mean, technically I'm I guess a Californian myself. You know, insert freeway joke there, but like, I think that like. I think it's harder. I think the thing that's kind of shocking about New York is it has this like, you know, reputation as being kind of gruff and intense. But to me, people are a lot more open here and kind of were willing to work with you, or just I don't know. Those stereotypes did hold up a little bit, because I did feel like in California people are kind of entrenched, and friend groups are entrenched, and genre groups are entrenched. And I was kind of shocked when I came here, because a lot of people seem kind of willing to help you along as a band. And it's again, that's against the stereotype of New Yorkers being whatever. Maybe the bluntness and honesty is a pro, but but yeah, a lot. You know, I was surprised. You know, yeah.
There's a you're absolutely right. I think that it kind of goes in different ways. Like, you know, there's a snobbiness that I think some people expect, which is kind of silly to me, because there was a time where I think people moved here and thought there was a Brooklyn attitude and it was just made up at that point. And it's like, what's going on here? But at the core of it, at least I can speak from like the perspective of the scene around St. Vitus. There's a camaraderie there. People want to be part of the community, and we're in a niche community. I think the cool thing about it is that, you know, it's not just I work at Revolver magazine, and there's a similarity there. It's now become this hybrid of dark music, right? It's not even it's not industrial music, it's not metal, it's not hip hop. It's you go to St. Vitus and you could go to a goth party at night. You might see a post-punk band one night, might see a hardcore band, and it's all under the same roof, but we all like the same shit, you know? I mean, you just talked about growing up and seeing Blood Brothers and Combat Wounded Veteran. And that's the cool thing. It's a community. People want to help each other, and they want to have cool things to do. And in order to do that, you need more bands, more artists, and just cool shit. So I like, you know, I like your explanation for, you know, your opinion on the New York scene and how it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think it's still true, because even when I go back to LA, I don't know, it's a segmented place. I don't know why that is, but it is.
Yeah, well, you know, the industry too can be overrated, which is interesting to bring up because, you know, as somebody that works in it, you know, there's elements of it that are progressive and some that aren't so much, you know, like the big companies and the whole old model. That you guys are seem very self-contained. Am I right to say that? Like your videos, a lot of stuff, you know, with some exceptions, seems very like a lot of self-produced, self-directed stuff. Is that true?
Yeah, totally. I mean, a part of that is, I don't know, part of that is just do it. I mean, do it yourself, right? I mean, it's you know, it's a matter of money, it's a matter of labels, it's a matter of financing, and like, I mean, we're on a good label, but it's just an issue of like, I don't know. I think I just have attention deficit disorder, and I just want to do stuff all the time, and I kind of hate relying on other people or other things. So, and I don't know. I do think playing music is one part of the business of a band or other things like that, right? It's about other creative endeavors and projects and stuff like that. That being said, it is in-house in a way, but it is collaborative, because just like we were talking about band members, I do like to reach out to friends who I think have a good eye or just do creative stuff. And I think I don't need to go get like the top video producer or the top whatever. It's like if I have a friend who has a creative eye or a gift for photography, I'm just as willing to do that with them if they're motivated like me to do stuff, you know, be
Yeah,
creative.
absolutely. And surrounding yourself with good people, creative people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That. With Artifact Records, how did you end up linking up with them?
I mean, that's another Jason Corbett actor's assist. He's been our, you know, he's been very generous to us in a lot of ways, and one of that is using the success that he's had to shine a light on us in a lot of ways, and that includes Artifact Records. And I think, you know, he does that in general. That's not just us as a band, and that's something, you know, we kind of touched on before, but I really do think that when I was talking about the old days in the PCH Club and those times, that there was a different culture amongst alternative music, and I think for maybe the last plus 10 years, it's much more competitive. I don't know if that's because a lot of bands have gotten eaten up by, you know, real press or other things like that, but I do really feel sad about the old days when there was more, I felt like a community. And you know, so Jason's a guy who kind of puts his money where his mouth is. If he likes you as a band, then he'll share his wealth, or whatever wealth that he has, you know, from the success that he's had so far. So we've benefited from that. And, you know, Artifact is a great label. They treat us awesome, but you know, Jason's the guy who opened the door for us. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. I think that also being self-contained, but also working tightly with people, you know, at least in my opinion and experience these days, is something that can go a much longer way, just because of the fact that you're in control of it. And anybody that does appreciate what you do, they, you know, you're dealing with them directly. There's no in between, you know, and it seems like you guys are really good about staying in touch with the folks that do follow you. Like I said, like how I heard about you with the whole, like, come join us tonight. That stuff goes a long way. And you got on a fucking tour. It didn't happen, but you ended up on a tour with Modern English, and you know, that's pretty fucking wild. How did that even happen, by the way?
that's Artifact Records. So that was something that was happening, and they, you know, pitched us. And you know, that's the nice thing about Artifact Records, speaking about kind of an old school attitude. You know, I think it's pretty rare these days that bands are praising their label so hard, but they they have that old thing like our job is to, you know, work for you, and set those things up. So that, yeah, that was something that was lined up from them. Now, that being said, it was really great because they did send our music to Modern English and they liked it. So that was like a big, like, wow
Rad,
moment for,
dude.
yeah. So, you know, I mean, we did earn part of it. It wasn't that, but, you know, again, like, you know, the music industry is all about doors and all that kind of stuff anyways. So they opened the door, but that's, I mean, yeah, that was a heartbreaker this year. I can't understate that enough. So
Well, you did get to film a live set at St. Vitus. So let's talk about that. You have
yeah.
one song that's out right now on your YouTube channel. So, and you were actually one of the first to do it. The only other band that I was aware of was Thursday, who the way they did it was they did a live show and you had to buy tickets online to watch it.
Right.
Talk about the thing you did at Vitus.
It's really cool. I'll say that the reason it happened at Vitus in the first place has to do with kind of all the stuff we were talking about, just how supportive it's been as a venue from top to bottom, everybody that works there. You know, so yeah, we wanted to do it and they said yes. So it was a great experience because it felt weird to play live, to be back again, so to speak. It was also, been telling this to people, it's so weird to play live music because it's loud. And I've been kind of like conditioned after all these years to be used to loud music, but I was like, wow, man. So anyways, it felt great. And yeah, it was a cool experience. I mean, I'm kind of proud of the video too because we showed that it was empty. I wanted to make it a document of the time that we're in right now and how weird everything is, but I still kind of wanted to show the venue and I don't know, it felt like a bit of a haunting or something. I don't know.
Hey, I just really quick, everybody,
Yeah.
somebody just left me a message. I just want to say that I blocked that person. I didn't know that I could do that. So he's gone, or whoever that was. So now we can have a great episode. It's been very trying, but that person is now blocked. Thank you to the person that just sent me a note. I didn't know that I could do that. And Panther, I'm sorry that you've been putting up with that this whole time. It's been very distracting.
No, it isn't because I'm just so bad at reading the comments and thinking at the same time. I wouldn't even be able to handle it, so it's totally fine.
I'm gonna give a round of applause that we got rid of him. He's gone. Jesus
All
Christ.
right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thank God. Geez, who has time to do that?
I don't know.
I really don't know what was going on there. But so as you were saying with the St. Vitus stream, you released one song so far. How many songs did you guys film?
So we did 5 songs that are actually going to come out as a live, well, I guess it would be an EP, but yeah, we're going to actually offer them for digital release in December. I mean, we'll be slowly releasing the live footage, but we're actually going to offer it to people as well for download. But yeah, 5 songs, yeah. And it was awesome just to hang out with everybody, you know. It was all safe and cool, but it was just cool to be inside of the place like that, you know, a little sense of normalcy and all that kind of stuff. So it was awesome.
Sounded great, man. I can't wait to check out the other stuff. I love the idea of live records because that was such a big thing back in the day, and some people are bringing it back. You know, I can't get into it too much, but it's cool that you're doing it because I've had some talks at St. Vitus about trying to bring back the live record in terms of like, I mean, you know, it sounds great in there. You know what I mean?
And especially now, it's a moment for that too, right? Because I think it was weird because, you know, listening to the playback on them and stuff like that, you do forget it always is a little different, you know? So it is a different experience.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. So, you know, so that was a show you played on your own because live music is not a thing. The tour didn't happen. And you mentioned that you do shows with actors, to name one. Who are some of your favorite other artists to share stages with? Maybe you could tell us about some other bands we should be privy to.
Well, I always dodge this question just for the simple fact that we play with too many good bands, and I'm always going to forget someone, and I don't want their feelings to be hurt. So I would just suggest Bootblacks has a playlist on Spotify, and we put a ton of people on there that we played with and shared the stage with, and that playlist won't forget the people that I could forget right now. So I would just say, I would just suggest going to the Spotify, listening to it, and Barrett has done a great job of curating that and all the people we played with. So if you want to check out anyone we thought was good and fun to play with, go there because I'm gonna blow it right now and forget somebody. So
All good, man.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and then the other thing too, I was going to say, this is a great time to bring this up because now we're kind of unbothered here. Lyrically, are you, lyrically, where are you coming from? Or is it more personal, or does politics ever really enter sort of like the stance that you take as a front person or anything like that?
No, I mean, the band's not political in nature, at least not direct. But the way I kind of approach lyrics, anyways, is that they're non-narrative, right? So what I try to do is I try to write something that's personal to me in sort of an abstract way, like kind of grab what I think is the feeling of the song, and then the reason I'm really attracted to music, at least personally, is I like music that feels like it's written for me. So my goal actually is to write lyrics where someone can interface themselves with the song, because at least for me, the most powerful music in my life is stuff like, if I've had a breakup or I feel joyous and I feel like this song's for me. So that's kind of always my goal, is to make the song personal and unpersonal at the same time. I don't know if that is a thing,
No,
but at least that's the goal, right? So.
And yeah, I know we touched on it a little bit. I was asking a couple loaded questions and getting distracted. But do you have any like particular vocalists that are big inspirations on you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the usual suspects, I suppose. I mean, I'm a huge David Bowie guy, but I don't try to ape him too hard. But I mean, I have a great love for him as an inspirational person. I love Dave Gahan,
Oh
of course,
yeah, oh yeah.
Depeche Mode. I love Brian Ferry. I mean, I love all the big shots. What can I say? I don't know. They have the charisma. So, oh gosh, see, this is another game where I'm gonna miss someone and kick myself for it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna say the obvious ones because they come to mind. But yeah,
No, I mean those goes without saying, and I hear it in your delivery as well. As far as other types of quarantine stuff, do you guys have anything planned that you want to let everyone know about?
Yeah, we're gonna be releasing obviously the St. Vitus live stuff, and those will be accompanied with videos over the next couple weeks for different stuff, which obviously we'll be posting about, and we also have more music videos. Actually, we have a video for almost every song on the album, or actually every song on the album, and yeah, we just got some fun little stuff that's better surprise. We try to have a good sense of humor over here, so we have some fun stuff coming up too.
Well, you have a video on YouTube on your channel. Are those? You said you have almost one for every song on the album. Are you guys doing those yourselves, directing and producing?
No. I mean, we have some involvement with them, but again, it's just people we know, other creative people that we're working with. Give a shout out to Mr. MT, Michael Thomas, friend of ours. He's done a lot of those and probably seen his stuff on there. And but yeah, we've had a cast of other people that we've been working with as well too. So
yeah. That's great. You guys are great with the content, getting stuff out there, and the visuals work great with the music. As far as like the band's been around for 10 years now. Are there any cool tours in the past that maybe we could talk about? Since obviously we're unable to sort of look ahead. Maybe there's some cool tours you guys did in the past with some. You mentioned there's so many bands that you can mention, and you don't want to forget any, but I imagine that there were some really cool moments.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years have been a lot of stuff with actors, which has been great. But in the past, I mean, we've been a band for 9 or 10 years now, so there's a lot of stuff. We've had actually a lot of great time and success touring Europe. That was with a band that we played with who's defunct, Monozid, but they've been great friends. So we've, I don't know, gone over the European continent back and forth maybe 4 or 5 times with
That's
those
awesome.
guys, and met all sorts of people in between. I mean, I have a lot of good tour stories, but that might be for, that might be for another night.
Hey man, it's
um,
all kosher here, man. It's a bar, so
yeah, yeah,
anything and everything goes. It's saying, but well, I didn't say that, but I'm just talking about nightlife in general in Brooklyn.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Awesome, yeah. That must and you're the Europeans are so much more interested, I think, and that's no disrespect. I'm just talking about like a lot of bands that I know will go over to Europe and end up
Yeah,
playing bigger festivals.
yeah.
Finding out you have fans that you never knew about. What was Europe like for you?
It's a totally different infrastructure for touring. One, I don't know if a lot of people who aren't in bands don't know that, but it's a totally different infrastructure. It's set up for touring. Um, I think Europeans, looking for the right word, they're less embarrassed about loving stuff.
Mm.
So there's a kind of thing where people come in mass to the shows. They want the records signed. They're really enthusiastic. They're very excited that you're there. There's not a they're not jaded at all. So also the crowds, I would say some of the rowdiest shows we've ever played as far as engagement, dancing. I mean, we're a band that doesn't solicit a mosh pit, but we've gotten them. You know
Right,
what I
right. No,
mean?
I know what
So
you mean. It's just so
yeah,
different.
yeah, and so yeah, they just have a great level of, like, they're not shy about being fans of stuff, right? And so yeah, I mean, that's why I'm trying to pick a thing or two out. All I could come was bring up Europe, because those experiences over the years have been so rewarding and cool, and just uh, yeah. I mean, the best shows we played are probably mostly there, and they're total surprises. You can roll up to some town that has like 12 consonants in the name that I've never heard of, because I don't, I'm not a master of geography, and there's a couple hundred people there that are willing to go absolutely tear the place down for you. So, yeah, it's a wonderful experience, and I would tell any band of any size, if you have the opportunity to do it once it gets normal, it's really a life-changing experience.
Couldn't agree more. And I think the another way to put it is they're not like too cool, I guess, which is
No,
you and I think understand, like, and it's not in a disrespect to LA or New York, but like, those kind of territories, you're gonna run into that more there than in other places. And when you go to certain areas of Europe, especially if you're going there as a Brooklyn band, you know what I mean? There's just kind of
yeah,
like a whole stigma that goes along with it, and they get excited. So I love that
yeah.
about
There's a cultural weight that living here has that I didn't understand. So
well, the post-punk thing, especially in the early 2000s, which I don't need to tell you. I mean, it was such like everybody was fucking doing it, and I think it's cool that like you guys are doing it now, but in such a fresh way. And you've taken, again, 9, 10 years. Like this record to me is amazing because all of your records are great, but it really hones it in, and that comes with the years of experience and kind of listening back to your old records and trying to figure out how to one up yourself. I think, at least
yeah,
from my experience, I'm not sure if that's the same way with you.
yeah, yeah, totally. Like I want, I don't know, I want to hate my record when I'm done with it, because that's the only way you can motivate yourself to yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think it'd be weird to look back on the record 10 years ago and be like, it was incredible. That's it. I nailed it. I don't want everyone to feel that way. So
No, of course, of course. Well, I'm just pumped that that you guys decided to put it out, and I don't know when you guys are going to be able to get out there again, but it looks like you have a lot of videos and content and things to pump out. What are your hopes for 2021 when hopefully we can you know
wow, man. Yeah, I mean, my expectations are so, I mean, I feel like we're living in a science fiction movie for so many reasons. Like, I mean, if I was a flashback to January of this year and you were to tell me all the things that happened, I would not believe you. Um, Next year, I'd like some piece of, like, I'd like the silver lining to get a little wider, and a big part of that for me would be to play live music again, and everything that entails, right? So I don't know if I want to play live music with a shower curtain around everybody. Like I really do. I think I'm really in touch with the idea that there is something completely fundamental about, I was thinking about this, that if you were to play at a huge place like Madison Square Garden or Barclays Center, the most expensive seats are the ones where you have to stand up against a railing. And there's a reason for that, because there's something in the human condition that's part of the live experience, is being close and around each other, and that kind of, whatever that is, that kind of like hive mind of joy, right? And being on the stage is, on the other side, is one of the luckiest and coolest things you can do with your life, I think. So I would love all that to come back, and I think I need it. So
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And like we said earlier, your record, in a way, does come at a good time, because people who are going through dark times could use the music. You know what I mean? So, weird question and weird sort of twist here, but like during the time that we've been all kind of stuck, especially early in the year, are there any records or it kind of almost like desert island stuff that I like to ask everybody? Like, are there any records that are always on constant rotation for you that maybe have helped you get through this weird time?
Well, all right. So this is a I do have some really kind of classic records that I love. But I'm not just going to give the answer I've been given all summer long. I've just been listening to Steely Dan, because
wow.
it's like the Kalana pin of music. It's just keeping me relaxed. As a person who does enjoy heavy and aggressive music, I can't do it. Not now.
Steely Dan, man, huh?
That's it. And this is my third disappointed interview where I say that to people, and it's not my desert island music, but it's definitely, I'm in a very strong easy rock phase right now. And I don't know if it's something I'm proud of or it's the product of 2020, but I'm just going to answer honestly. So
hey man, you know what? It's funny because I interview a lot of people every week, and you never know the answers you're going to get to that question. Some people are like, man, I'm in a hardcore band and people think I just sit around listening to hardcore, but I've been listening to fucking, Neil Young all week, so you never know what you're going to get. I feel you to an extent. There's the angry part of you that's during this time like, man, I want to fucking listen to the heaviest shit ever. But I'd say sometimes for me, I've been putting on like fucking Pink Floyd or something, which is not wrong, Pink Floyd, but like you just need something to like put you at ease during this time.
Well, it's funny because like I think when I listen to the other type of music, post-punk or whatever, it gets me too energetic, right? It makes me want to like get up and do it. And I'm like, no, that's not something that's possible. So when I learned that Steely Dan never toured for 12 years, I thought, well, perfect. Like here's a band that's only a band that's anti-live music in a way. So
yeah. Well, I was getting your album was getting pumped earlier because it's that pulsating beat thing. It just makes it's great nighttime music. You want to go out,
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I like that I'm advocating for people to do the opposite of what I'm doing. So I'm like, hey, listen to my music that gets you pumped. While meanwhile, back in my house, it's like, it's like I'm in a jacuzzi mentally, the whole time. So.
Well, I mean, it's great. It's only been out for a week. When you do get the chance to get out there and tour and play for people, it's going to be super exciting. And I think people are going to be just fucking pumped. Yeah, man, I just, again, I want to thank you for doing this. I know it's been about an hour or so.
Good. My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Any final words or shout outs or anything that you want to mention before we peace out of here?
Yeah. I want to just say hi to my bandmates who are probably roasting me on the message board here that I can't read. So that's probably pretty good. I love those guys, and I'm very happy and proud to do the record with them. And there's a lot of people that, again, my huge anxiety is not mentioning everybody, but there's so many people that helped us get here on the record, and whatever. I thank them, and I'm so happy to share it with the world, and I'm happy to talk with you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And everybody that watched and for the kind words, thank you. And I love that you and your bandmates seem so tight. That's so it's like, I'm not saying everyone's like Oasis where they hate each other, but there's not enough of that. I love you. Great when you see that. And you could feel it through the music too. You know, you guys are all close, I could tell. I wanted to mention anybody that tuned in late. This whole interview within the next 10 minutes or so will be up in its entirety on the St. Vitus Instagram, and it'll be on my YouTube channel if you look up Chris Enriquez on YouTube within the next week or so. But Panther, man, you killed it on the new record, and it's going to be on heavy rotation, man. I just started listening to it over the weekend, and again, it speaks to me. I'm a child of the '80s, man, and I'm not saying it's dated by any means. I'm just saying it's got that in there, and I love it, you know. So yeah,
kudos, that's a compliment. Thank you.
Kudos to you, and this won't be the last time that we speak, because I'm going to be hitting up Larry if you're watching. I think he's the only one that's not watching, but
yeah. I was going to say good luck with that.
Unless he's with Allie watching. But Larry, if you're out there, I'm coming for you, buddy. I'm coming for you. But you guys stay safe, and thanks to your fans that tuned in from your page, and I hope that we get to chat it up at St. Vitus in person one day.
We will for sure, man.
All right, peace out, my brother.
All right, see you, man.
Have a good one, Panther.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, that was an interesting time. I'm really glad that we got Panther from Bootblacks. We want to make sure that people know about them because they're fucking fantastic. So if you haven't heard them, check out Thin Skies on all streaming, and check out their YouTube channel with a lot of videos, and also a live performance from St. Vitus. So check that out, and thank you. This has been Age of Quarantine. I'm Chris Enriquez. Thank you so much. Stay safe, vote in November, and fuck that guy that was being a dick before. Yeah, I said it. Peace out.